I can read about the weather by Robyn Supraner. When you wake up in the morning, do you look out the window to see what kind of day it's going to be? Do you look up at the sky and wonder about the weather? And on some days, big flakes of snow come tumbling out of the sky. Each day brings a different kind of weather. The air all around you is part of the weather. Is the air calm or windy? Is it wet or dry? Clear or cloudy? Hot or cold? All these conditions make up the day's weather. Everywhere in the world, different kinds of weather are taking place. Somewhere people are sunbathing, somewhere else a storm is raging. Thunder rumbles and lightning seems to crack the sky. But what makes the rain? What makes the snow? What makes different kind of weather? All our weather begins with the sun. The sun gives us heat. Sunshine warms everything it touches. You can feel the heat on a sunny day on the beach. On a hot day, you can feel the heat when you go down the slide after it's been baking in the sun. When the sun shines, something else happens. Lakes, rivers, and oceans grow warmer. Ponds and pools grow warmer too. A wet towel left stretched out in the sunshine soon dries. Puddles dry up. The water seems to disappear. What is happening? The warm water is changing into a gas called water vapor. This is called evaporation. The hotter the sun is, the faster the water evaporates. It does not really disappear. It becomes an invisible part of the air. The warm air with water vapor in it rises high above the earth, where the air is cool. This movement of the air creates the wind. As the warm air rises to where the air is cool, something important happens. The water vapor in the air changes into millions of tiny drops of water. The droplets bunch together and they make a cloud. Do you remember the last time you played outdoors on a very cold day? Do you remember the tiny clouds that formed every time you breathed out? That was because your breath contains water vapor. When the warm water vapor was cooled by the chilly air, it changed it into tiny droplets. It made a little cloud. Big clouds are made much the same way. There are many kinds of clouds. Each sort of cloud can help us tell what the weather will be. Soft, fluffy clouds that look like puffs of cotton are called cumulus clouds. When the cumulus clouds sail the sky, the weather will be fair. It's a good day for a picnic. Clouds that look feathery are called cirrus clouds. They are thin and wispy. They float so high in the sky that they usually have ice crystals in them. Cirrus clouds are fair weather clouds. And the cirrostratus clouds are also high in the sky. They look like thin white sheets. When you see cirrostratus clouds, you better pack an umbrella for your picnic basket. The weather just might change from fair to rainy. Light clouds, thin clouds, soft clouds, white clouds. These are the clouds that hold only a little water. When we see them, we know that the weather will probably be nice. But as millions and millions of water droplets gather together, the clouds get bigger and bigger. And after a while, they begin to turn gray or even black. Eventually, the drops of water get too heavy to stay up in the clouds, and they fall back to earth, and then we have rain. Sometimes we have a light rain, but sometimes the rain comes pouring down, and the streets fill up like rivers. Dark and heavy clouds are called cumulonimbus clouds, and when you see them, they tell you bad weather is on the way. That's a big word, isn't it? Sometimes high up in the air, the water vapor gets so cold that it freezes into beautiful frosty crystals. These crystals are called snowflakes, and when they fall, we have snow. Each crystal has 6 sides, and the endless patterns the snowflakes form can be very beautiful. Sometimes the falling flakes pass through a layer of warm air. They melt and become drops of rain. The falling raindrops pass through more layers of air. These layers may be cold, and then the raindrops freeze into tiny pieces of ice. When they do, we have sleet or frozen rain. There's some snow, there's some rain, and there's some sleet or frozen rain. Did you ever see a ball of ice come out of the sky in the middle of July? If you did, you have seen a hailstone. Hail often forms during thunderstorms, the kinds of thunderstorms we usually get in the summer. Here's how a hailstorm forms. High above the earth, where the air is very cold, drops of water freeze and start to fall. But before they can melt into the warm air below, they are tossed back into the upper air by stormy clouds, getting a coat of water. Up they go, and again they freeze. Again they start to fall. And again the gusty winds blow them high into the sky, and another coat of ice forms. The hailstones get bigger and bigger. A hailstone may bounce through the layers of air many times, and some hailstones get as big as baseballs. Oh my. At last, the balls of ice are so heavy they fall to the earth, and when they do, we say it's hailing. Some clouds do not form in the sky. They form closer to earth, and then everything looks gray. Sometimes it's hard to see things that are right in front of you. When this happens, we have fog. Fog forms when warm, wet air near the ground cools, and the water vapor in the air forms tiny water droplets. Some days, early in the morning, water vapor cools very close to the ground. Then the grass is covered with tiny sparkling drops of water. When this happens, we have dew. On very cold mornings, the water vapor freezes, and then each blade of grass and every twig is slightly iced with frozen crystals. When this happens, we have frost. Weather is an important part of our lives. A scientist who studies the weather is called a meteorologist. A meteorologist studies the air, wind, and rain and makes forecasts about the weather. Meteorologists work together from worldwide weather stations. These stations have many different tools. Thermometers measure how hot or cold the air is, and weather vanes tell us the direction from which the wind is blowing. Some weather stations use radar to find faraway places where rain is falling, and weather balloons are used to find out weather conditions high in the air. They send back radio messages measuring temperature and how wet the air is. Another important tool is the satellite. It carries television cameras to take pictures of the Earth. Clouds, snow, and ice can be seen in these pictures, which are sent back to weather stations on the ground. When all the information is gathered, meteorologists put it into a computer to form a weather forecast. Many people depend on knowing what the weather will be. Pilots must know what the weather will bring. Bad weather must be planned for so a flight can be smooth. Farmers depend on the sun and rain to grow healthy crops. And early frost can kill crops before they can be harvested. By knowing what weather is coming, farmers can take action to protect their crops. Thick fog can mean danger for cars and boats. Meteorologists also work to predict storms that may cause damage. Hurricanes, tornadoes, and blizzards are all powerful storms. There's a satellite view of a hurricane. In a hurricane, winds blow at 75 miles per hour or more. Heavy rains and huge waves can cause flooding. And tornadoes are nature's most violent storms. A tornado may form during a thunderstorm, destroying everything in its path. The tornado's winds swirl at 400 miles per hour in a shape that looks like a giant funnel. A blizzard is a dangerous snowstorm. Winds blow at 35 miles per hour and the temperature is very low. People are affected by all kinds of weather, but for children, weather often can be fun. On hot days, you can go swimming, and on cold days, you can go ice skating. Just think of the wonderful things you can do in all kinds of weather. What's today's weather? Is it cold or hot, windy or calm, rainy or dry? Would you like to be a weather watcher? Look at the clouds, measure the temperature, make your own forecast. You'll discover a lot about weather and how it affects us every day.